Tools, training, systems, and support. It goes all the way through. So if it's employees, it all starts with knowing how to recruit, interview, hire, train properly, and then lead, delegate, motivate. So it depends on what industry you're in. If it's, real estate, you have to be careful because there's a lot of people selling silver bullet, the one thing, the secret, stuff like that. So you'll have people like me that, my passion in life, and it always has been, I've been a mentor my entire career to everybody in my business, to all the companies I've owned and things like that. So, there's people out there that do it professionally. And you just need to make sure that they have the experience, they know what they're talking about, and they're sincere. And then you need to be able to distinguish that from people that are just trying to, get your money or sell you something. They've never done anything, don't know what they're talking about. And you can tell the difference by how somebody talks and by the questions they ask. People will know how much you know by the questions you ask. And the same thing with a mentor. You will know if you have a good mentor by the questions they ask and how much they want to understand you and where it is you're trying to get to versus how much they can get from you. So more specifically, there's in the multifamily real estate world, there's a ton of mentors out there. In the residential world, there's a bunch of people out there. You can find them locally, real estate meetups, things like that. You can find some that have written books, but you just got to be careful. Make sure that you know who the charlatans are and who the, sincere people are. And, talk to, their clients. I was on a call right before we talked with one of my clients that I'm coaching that started out. I think they had just under 100 million in assets under management. Now they're getting close to $1 billion. They're on their way there. They had less than 100 million under management. Now they're doing $100 million deals. Yeah. So the way I do one-on-one is it's bespoke, it's personal. And, I don't want to take up the time here, of everybody, but it's literally me and you one-on-one. It's unlimited. I'm your coach, your mentor, your guide. We start out, we make a business plan. And then we put that plan into action, and I help you do all of the things we talked about. I teach you how to fish. I teach you how to raise capital, how to build your company, whatever it is you're looking to do. That's what I teach you how to do. And I have a 1-year mentorship program. So it's unlimited access to me Monday through Friday business hours. I'm on the East Coast. So if you're in New York, we're on the same time zone, but I work with people all over the world, and, we do everything via Zoom, things like that. And I have tons of resources, and they get access to all my courses and things like that. But it's personal. It's one-on-one. Like I said, I just got off the phone with a client. I had 2 calls today from clients on Labor Day. So I'm always available to my clients, and they have access to me whenever they need me. And, once somebody does my 1-year program, they have me for life. It's a 1-year, one-time fee, but after that, I'm available to them, for long-term. So, I build long-term relationships with people. And like I said, I have people all over the world and doing all kinds of things. And, nothing makes me, more satisfied and fulfilled than seeing somebody reach their full potential, reach their goals, and do like, my clients that I talked to today are doing, going from, 80 to 100 million to $1 billion, and just their whole world has changed. It's a lot of fun. They were smarter and more talented. So first of all is, you have to set your ego aside and realize that, you ain't nothing special, right? Whatever it is, somebody knows more, and that none of us are as smart as all of us as a team. So again, what I did was the people that I needed, I went and looked at the best companies in the business doing what it is I wanted to do. And then I recruited some of their people, or you can just recruit for those positions depending on what it is and where you need them. But you can recruit them from other companies. Of course, today you have the online applications. The key is the interview process, so nowadays, Indeed, LinkedIn, social media, that's where you find people now. Very different than when I was in business. And what I was doing, very specific, I wanted to build $1 million beach houses. So the biggest company in the area, I literally called up their, the president of their company and said, hey, I want you to come work with me. And the key was, I want you to come work with me. I don't want you to work for me. Nobody ever worked for me. We worked together. And in fact, I worked for them. So the first thing is to put yourself at the bottom. Remember, you are the servant of that organization. So when it comes to finding people, if you think about it from that standpoint of what it is that you need people that are smarter, better, more talented than you. And, there are some people that aren't going to be smarter, better, more talented, but they're going to be better than you at a job. Like, for instance, my bookkeeper wasn't necessarily smarter than me, but, she was better than me at bookkeeping. And I'm not going to sit there and do that. That's just not the highest and best use of my time. but my chief financial officer was the president of my company. He knew way more about building houses than I did. I'd never built a house before I built a house. So I hired people that did. So one way is to look at other organizations. And if you watch the news, you see that happening all the time. Google, Facebook, Twitter, uh, you know, all the different tech companies, they're all always transitioning and moving around. Top executives in those companies going to their competitors. And, that happens for a reason. So nothing wrong with recruiting from other competitive companies, at a high level, depending on what you want to do. And then at the, entry level, you have LinkedIn, Indeed, online resources, Facebook, meetup groups where you just post what you're looking for. The key is you need to understand how to recruit. You need to understand how to interview, and you need to understand how to process the applicants for the position you're looking for. For instance, just an example real quick. If you're looking for a detail-oriented office manager type person, you need to have a very detailed process of how you want them to apply to make sure they can follow instructions in a detailed manner. If they don't, red flag, right? You don't want a bookkeeper that can't even fill out or apply for the job the right way, meaning send me your resume in written format with a separate attachment, to this email or whatever, so you want to have specific instructions for them to apply for the position. And then the other thing is you always want to, review the resume, see how they're written, read them. Are there typos in there? Is there, spelling correct, punctuation? Is it well written, organized? So you need to think about, who it is you're hiring for. If you're hiring sales talent, then, you want to have one-on-one, you want to get on video and Zoom first, and you want to challenge them, right? So if you're applying for a job with me and you tell me you're a top salesperson and you're going to blow it out of the market, I'm going to tell you, well, I'm not seeing top talent, and I'm going to see how you respond. And I'm going to say, well, you don't sound that good to me, and I'm going to see how you respond. So you need to challenge individuals that are going to be in the role of that, and, make sure that you ask good questions and things like that, and have a multi-step interview process. So depending on the level of the employee, that's kind of how you do that. Oh, so I would want them to challenge me and say, well, what are you talking about? I've been this, I've been that, I'm the best, versus somebody that says, oh, well, okay, well, thanks. And then they leave, right? So the wrong person's just going to quit, right? Top talent's going to challenge you back and say, wait a minute, what do you mean? I did this, I set that record, I've been here, I've got that. And then I'm going to put them through a test and say, okay, well, whatever it is I'm hiring them to sell me this, because sophisticated, talented individuals are going to do some research before they ever apply, especially for sales or investor relations or something like that. Just like you, before I ever even responded to your email about this, I went to your website, looked it up, did all that. And I said, okay, they look good. So I'll go ahead and agree to do your meetup. If you guys didn't look good, I would have never responded. Okay, so depending on what type of property it is, you have a number of options. Number one, you have commercial real estate brokers. So you can, talk to commercial real estate brokers in the area. They can give you some opinions. You have to be careful because they have a goal, right, to get the biggest commission they can get. So you have to qualify their opinion, but they can give you general market expertise, asset history, things like that. You can get a lot of information from the brokers by asking good questions. Then you have property management companies. So you can get a lot of information from property management companies about the operations, what it costs to operate the property, what the potential to improve the property is and boost the income. If it's strictly evaluation, then you can get appraisers. Commercial appraisers, they can do highest and best use study for vacant land development or redevelopment. And then they can do just straight up valuations on a commercial property, and they're going to value it three ways. They're going to use an income approach, they're going to use replacement cost, and then they're going to use comps. So they'll help you with that. And then obviously for the detailed contract work, you're going to have a real estate attorney do that. And then for the actual underwriting and understanding financials and analysis and putting together your offering memorandum and, investor package, things like that, then yes, you can hire talent from like Bullpen, places like that to put those things together in a very sophisticated, way that looks really good. They have people in there that'll do that for you. There's other companies and resources you can outsource that to as well. So it depends on your expertise. I went the route of starting a building company because that's just what I did. But now I don't build at all. I hire builders to work for me. So it depends on what your goals are. If you're making enough profit just selling the land, that's easy. Stick with that if you have that opportunity, because building is very difficult. There's a lot of liability. It's a big learning curve. If you're not in the business, you're not in the industry, it's not something you want to just get out there and start doing. You're much better off hiring somebody else to do that, that's what they do. if you want to build spec houses, hire a builder, let them handle it because of a couple of reasons. One, you're not going to save that much money at the end of the day because you've got taxes, insurance, workman's comp, general liability. You have to warranty the house. And I'm talking years down the road. Somebody will call you up for a leak or something. In most states, you have to warranty the structure for 10 years. And if there's any kind of mold or water damage or anything like that, that can come back on you personally. Even if you have a corporation, you still have to deal with it. So there's a lot of reasons to use a general contractor. At the end of the day, it's only going to cost you 10% to hire a general contractor. And for me, a 10% premium is well worth not having to deal with any of that. Then you got to learn the subcontractors and suppliers and vendors, and you got to deal with all the waste and loss and theft and just all the things that go with construction. So my advice would be, if you're making a good profit on the land, find a way to do more of that and keep doing that. And if you want to build, then hire professional general contractors that's what they do, the type of product you want to build, and that's all they do, and let them do their job. Again, you bring Tom Brady in to go to the Super Bowl to throw touchdowns and win touchdowns. You don't want to go learn how to be quarterback and throw the touchdowns yourself. Doesn't make any sense. Buying a company is always better than building a company. So if you do want to have a building company, yes, much easier to buy one than it is to build it, because they're going to have those relationships of the subs, things like that. So that's an option as well. But building is a very difficult, risky business with low margins. So I wouldn't recommend getting into that. So the Federal Reserve has a website where you can see their balance sheet and their minutes and, what they talk about. But that reflects obviously their actions after the fact. But, obviously CNBC, Bloomberg, they have a lot of news, Yahoo Finance, Googling different things. But those are your main resources. Then you have the Wall Street Journal that you can, keep track and read stuff in there. And then there's a lot of great podcasts out there with economists, on the CNBC network, Bloomberg television, things like that. So if you only have one investor, then you can just create a note and, and deed of trust on it. And you don't have to necessarily do like a full syndication. So, they can just be like a line of credit or something like that. But if you have multiple investors, then, that's a public offering and you have to do an exemption with the SEC and do a syndication. But that's just paperwork. It's an expense. It's going to cost you anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 for a standard offering package to raise capital. So it really depends on how many investors you have and how you structure it. So if it's just one, just do it like a note and deed of trust on the property. It'd be like a second mortgage or something.